So Nicolette, thank you so much for being here today and taking some time to chat with Broadsign on vertical impression and all things out of home. Do you maybe want to start by telling us a little bit about vertical impressions, mission statement, and kind of what you guys are all about?
Well, thank you for having me. It's awesome always to talk to our friends at Broadsign. So Vertical Impressions' mission is really to transform elevator advertising globally and really transcend the lines that have been created for digital out of home and digital and even in the future connected TV by having a really unique tech stack that allows us to disrupt what we currently think of as digital out of home and to provide our clients with really engaging metrics about how well their audience is looking at the ads that are on our screens. And so we're excited to provide unreachable audiences that are in a trapped space that are really captivated by the messaging that they can receive with our screens.
That's awesome. It sounds like you have a really highly coveted audience. And how would you say your business has evolved over the past few years? And do you have any predictions or things you're excited about for the future?
Well, it's evolved a lot, and of course COVID was an accelerant on that, and for some folks, particularly in the out-of-home space, COVID was a horrible time. For us being in residential, it really allowed us to expand, and it was an opportunity for us, a very big silver lining for us, the fact that people were forced to stay home and work from home, and it transitioned our entire lives and how we operate. And so that same COVID happened at the exact same time as we expanded nationally and had a really big presence. And so, the combination of those two things really transformed our business to get to the point where we're now in our third year of partnership with Rogers Sports and Media. They're our exclusive reseller. And so they wanted to launch an out-of-home division. And it just really, the past few years, we've arguably put elevator advertising, and particularly residential elevator advertising, on the map in Canada and created it as a viable solution for clients.
That's great. I actually have one of your screens in my elevator building
nice.
in my condo. I always see it. So can you tell us a little bit more about your inventory and what makes it so unique?
So we have the largest residential footprint. We also have commercial towers as well, and the vast majority of our screens are right inside the elevator, and then we do have lobby screens that are situated while you're waiting for the elevator to come and pick you up literally. And what sets us apart is other networks that are in the same spaces don't necessarily have screens within the elevator. Some of them are in mail rooms or not as highly trafficked areas. The size of our screens definitely set us apart as well if we're just talking about the basics, and our loop length and how we operate in our content management system. So you live in a building with one of the screens, you can see that there's a news feed for properties. So they can log in and post notices about what's happening within the building. Nothing's more annoying than when you have a board meeting and your fire alarm is going off consistently and you can't come off mute. And so to have a heads up on those situations that are happening within the building you live in, it makes an ecosystem of communication. So our screens are not just, bulletin boards or billboards. They really are a source of information and infotainment as well. And so just that mix, and it's not monopolized by one user coming up to touch the screen. We really want to engage with all of the riders and build an ecosystem in the building. So it's a combination of the hardware and the software. And then of course, really what sets us apart is our unique offering of privacy compliant anonymous video analytics that allows our clients to know how well the audience is staring at their campaigns.
That's great. So that was my next question. Are there any unique media capabilities that you wanted to cover?
So I think, again, there's this basic component that people forget about in the fact that people live where our screens are situated. And so if it's Canadian Tire doing a barbecue sale, we can tell the client, these are the buildings that have balconies that allow barbecue. So there's a basic targeting feature, being that this is where people dwell often, and then up to our tech stack of being able to target ads in real time based on who's riding in the elevator. So that's not something that's fully implemented within our programmatic partners yet, but we're working on having that. And we work really closely with clients to offer our engagement reporting, and that's something that we can both look forward to in the future, is having more of our first-party tech capabilities available across across Broadsign's platform.
Absolutely, that's great. And kind of on the topic of the future, Vertical Impression is currently the largest residential advertising network in Canada, and we hear that you're soon going to be expanding into the US, which is super exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about the expansion and why now is the right time to move into new markets?
Well, Canada's a great market, and I feel like we've done great work here, and we've had significant success. And so taking that model into a much larger market like the US is very exciting. There's obviously a big appetite for video everywhere and screens, and we had a really great opportunity to work directly with elevator manufacturers to have a more cohesive unit and screen infrastructure. And so we're excited to be launching in the US. We are going live in Q3, and what took us over 6 years to build in Canada, we're going live with in 6 months in the US. And so we're very excited to be conquering new markets and taking our tech stack south.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Can't wait to see that. Why did Vertical Impression choose to work with Broadsign?
Well, Broadsign is very unique in that you have a very sought after ad server that kind of dominated the marketplace for a long period of time, particularly because you handle out of home so well, and I'm hopefully not speaking for you, but in terms of being able to have static and digital placements. And so you have a unique client base that's bridging the gap between traditional and digital out of home. And you also have really good inroads and tranches with small and medium-sized agencies. And it's a matter from a vendor perspective to have your inventory available to as many customers as possible. And Broadsign really has a strong footprint, particularly in the West. And our company was originated out of Edmonton. And so we see a lot of small and medium-sized businesses that have converted to programmatic based on the ease and have chosen the Broadsign platform. And so it's great for us to be able to continue to work with these local clients and smaller agencies that you have access to. And then of course there's holding companies as well that just prefer to use your platform, which is great. And we want to have access to all of the clients that flow through.
That's great. It's always great to hear that we've made operating your network a little bit easier, so that's awesome. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about being a female leader in out of home. What advice would you give to women that are wanting to move up in the ad tech space?
I think just start building. It looks scary to problem solve, but if you continue to see problems that exist, it's trying to solve them and taking a risk is really important. And not being afraid to fail. I think everyone is so afraid to fail, and we have this perfectionism culture, but if you don't fail, you don't learn. It's a matter of failing fast so that you can accelerate and find the path of success. You're never gonna find the path of success the first time you try. It's a matter of continuing to try, and I think it's this fear of failure that inhibits people for their own growth. And so I think getting a really strong group of female leaders around you to help support your ideas and initiatives is amazing. And out of home in comparison to other industries has really helpful female leaders. And it's I have a daughter, and I'm proud to work in an industry where we have great examples of female leaders. Are we breaking the glass ceiling, and is there more room to grow? Of course. But if you compare it to finance or even property management or engineering or any other fields that we cross over, I'm always amazed with the amount of female leaders in out of home. So it's a great to set the stage for future growth and other female leaders.
Thank you so much, Nicolette. It was great having you.
Thank you so much, Kayla.
Really appreciate it.